Isn't it weird how the world just keeps going after someone so close to you dies? That's the one thing that really hit me when my mom died. I can't explain it, but it was almost as if thought the world would end when she passed away. I simply couldn't even imagine what it would be like. But then she died when I was only 30, and the world kept right on spinning like nothing had happened. It didn't even trigger a blip on the radar. The trash still needed to be put out on Thursday. I still had to cook and put gas in the car. Television schedules were the same. My dog still wanted affection and to go for hikes. Everything was the same. The universe was the same, but minus her. I found that sad and also oddly comforting. It drilled home the point for me that our time here really is limited, that we're all on the same doomed boat, and that we really don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things. So you better make the most of it while you can, enjoy it while you can, and be kind to your fellow passengers and try not to add to their suffering. It feels wrong that the world just acts like they never mattered, almost as if they were already forgotten. It's also comfort. There's no tragedy too great, no pain too deep, that the rising sun can't promise the pain will fade in time. Mourn your loved one. The sun will be here tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Unless it's a nuclear holocaust, but I think that's a given. How is it not all over the news? How is everyone else at work just still working? It's the biggest thing in the world to you, but most people just don't care. Or they give an uncomfortable, sorry for your loss when you explain why you're canceling some plan. But the event still happens without you. On the way to the funeral, you drive past people walking into a restaurant like it's a normal day. Yeah. It's weird. And it's also good that the world is still there as you gradually become ready to re-enter it. But it's weird. My first wife died 20 years ago, aged 28. And I have lived with this thought ever since. My world ended but everything else just kept on keeping on. Fucking harsh reality. Yes, it's weird and I hate it. My dad died last year, about to be a year in May, and I think about him every day and cry at least 3x a week over his loss. Nobody cares anymore. My family members, his in-laws, that knew him for decades, don't mention him anymore, and that hurts me so bad. I hate that I seem to be the only one keeping his memory alive, and that once I'm gone, he'll be gone completely. This hit me hard. I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, I've often had that feeling. The goddamn insolence of it is infuriating. But that's real life. The world doesn't stop for any of us. And those of us who remain are simply dragged along as though under a moving bus when someone we love dies. As someone who's gotten good at death, I can tell you all you can do is let that bus hit you and just start running as soon as you're able. There's no trick to it. There's nothing that lessens the impact. You just have to take it. You should also remember that the person you loved was happiest in those moments when you were happy with them. They'd want you to enjoy life again if they were still here. It would hurt them to see you in sorrow. So mourn as long as you need, but not a damn second longer. Start running again just as soon as you're able. I know in the moment it almost feels sacrilegious to move on. Hell, I remember one time getting upset because I finished the toothpaste tube that I'd been using before a friend died, and it was like one more piece of the world he was associated with passed away with him. But the best way we can serve their memory is to live life to its fullest, to find our happiness as soon as we're able so that their memory can become a light to the world. Those who die are not truly gone, they're tattooed on our souls, and are present in our actions through what we learn from them. The sooner you start running again, the sooner they live again. Yeah, it is. My dad passed away this week and it's incredibly painful. His funeral is next week. After that then what? Life just goes on without him. It's the most nauseating thing I've ever experienced. 8 years later and my world collapses if I think about it too much. Yes, my brother just passed away 3 weeks ago and I can't function properly. It's always weird how things are around you when you lose someone. It was weirdly appropriate to my mind that it poured rain the day after my mom died. I was 9. The day of my father-in-law's death was bright and sunny and hot for the rest of the folks around us. There wasn't a blip at all when a good friend took his own life. But for those of us experiencing the loss, it's almost like the rest of the world is mocking our mourning, sometimes. They don't mean it. They just don't know what we are going through. Damn, this one got to me. I felt this way after my aunt died years ago and last October when my grandpa died. I hope you're doing okay, OP. The world will continue going long after the last human is gone. Life isn't contingent on the existence of humans. It's been a year since my grandmother died, and I thought about this recently. It'll be the same for us one day. Yes, it is. I'm sorry this happened to you. A dear friend died last month, and my brother died in December. And even though I grieve the loss deeply, their deaths don't shock me. What shocks me is the people who live like tomorrow is promised us. It is so weird. I spent the first 2 weeks after my mom's death driving to my parents' house every morning to be with my dad and sister, and all these people were just going to work doing their thing. It was hard. It is really hard. Especially the closer you are. Sometimes, after some time, it gets easier. But it's been over a decade since losing my mother, and I miss her more now than ever. So many life events she missed out on and would love to have been there for. I felt the same way after my wife died in 2013. I was a zombie for a few weeks, irregular sleep schedule, no sense of what time it was or even what day it was. I was suddenly a widower at 37 and I thought my world was ending. Then reality set in and I had 2 kids from my first marriage to take care of, a mortgage, pets, work, grocery shopping, bills, laundry, everything had to be taken care of, and without her help, I was now doing everything on my own. It's been almost 10 years now and my life has continued on, without her. I'm still here, everyone else is still here, except some of the pets, only one left. My life had kept moving forward and each day she is further and further behind me. Every now and then I come across ghosts from our past. I drive by the movies we always went to, of some place we had a good memory, some place that was very special, and I'm reminded of a better time in my life. Sadly though, that's all in the past. I'll never make any more good memories with her. My life keeps going, things keep changing, and it's all without her at my side. It really is a strange feeling. There is a world that ends. It's the world within the person who dies. And there are parts of our worlds inside that also end with them. My purpose isn't to accumulate anything. For me, it's about how I can make myself the most useful with the time and attention I have to give. It was a strange feeling leaving the hospital after one of my parents died. It was so normal. We walked through the labyrinth of the hospital just like we had done every day for weeks. We paid our parking ticket. We tried to remember where we parked. We even had a discussion if we should stop to get some food on the way home because we didn't think there was anything to eat at the house. We got in the car and left. It was normal. It was the same thing we had done every day. Except we would not drive back the next morning. We were carrying an extra bag home this time. It was very surreal. Yes, it is amazing. My dad died when I was 19, but we kept the usual rituals going as if he was still there. One of them was watching the nightly news. In the haze of grief, I remember repeatedly wondering how the death of such a wonderful man from heart attack at age 43 did not make the news. I realized that we all live in our own worlds, and although they intersect a lot, that we can never truly understand what is going on in someone else's. There's an interesting story of Shaka of the Zulu tribe in Africa. He was the man largely responsible for tribal warfare in the region, going from intimidation and skirmishes to encircled slaughter of every man until they threw down their weapon. Shaka's mother passed away, and Shaka declared such a brutally intense state of mourning for his kingdom to the point where it was likely to destroy it. Finally a man had the confidence to stand up to him and point out how many he'd murdered, and ask him if he thinks he's the only person to ever lose a mother. This helped Shaka realize an important truth of life. Even the mighty can be brought to their knees by loss, and yet it is so intrinsically a part of life that we cannot stop the world every time someone dies. I hated it extensively, and honestly still kind of hate it. Dad would have loved so much stuff that has happened, and he would have hated a lot of what happened. But he can't. Because he's dead. Everything shifted in ways I didn't like. For a very mundane example, grocery shopping. I hated grocery shopping with Mom, and I hate grocery shopping for myself. Dad was the planner. He'd have dinner planned out for the month. We'd buy everything in one trip and be set. No fuss, no muss, no problem. With Mom, she's a pick and grabber. She only wants to grab what she picks, and misses out on essentials. And she would freak the fuck out when she didn't have something that she forgot. Me? I get lost. I don't like it. I make lists beforehand and feel stumped when the items aren't there. Dad would always have a swerve. I don't have a swerve. I don't think I'm going to develop one either. I still feel lost. After my granddad passed, my grandma told us that no matter how prepared she could have been, she could never have understood how empty the world would feel afterwards. It was after the funeral it really hit her that now she was alone in the house. She had been married to my granddad for almost 50 years, and suddenly he was gone. She was a very positive and optimistic person, so she tried to live her life just like normal, one day at a time. She handled it really well, and would be out of the house doing things almost every day. But we could see that her health started to decline without Granddad. After a while you realize that it's not weird at all. It's just the way of things. I lost my dad at 21, a couple of good friends in my late 20s, and the older you get the more funerals you wind up going to. Aunts and uncles, cousins, co-workers and friends. Eventually it will be me. Probably sooner than later at that. And the world will keep going. Sorry for your loss. You doing alright, OP? Wanna talk? Dude, I feel you so much. My aunt just died after 10 years of battling many different cancers. I still can't wrap my head around the reality of her not being here. She's always been there, since day one and for every single event in my life. My son's birthday is tomorrow, who she adored to no end, and I can't even process why she won't be there. It's truly a confusing and sad and almost angering feeling. She always got better. She would feel crappy, but then she'd get better. But then all of a sudden, she spent a month and a half in the hospital and that was it. How are we supposed to keep going without her? My poor mom, her older sister, is so discombobulated as she's trying to get all the beneficiary duties done. And yet, we're still supposed to celebrate and have a good time without her. And then keep doing it for years to come. I felt that way when my 11-year-old daughter was murdered, like my daughter was murdered and I'm just supposed to go to work, pay bills and act like it never happened. Never escaping the nightmare, pretending to be normal or die by suicide. Life truly is like a box of chocolates. We are but players on a stage. I remember my partner dying years ago on a Saturday. The day after, one of the cops tell me the best thing is to go to work Monday, and just continue life as normal. The world is cruel because it doesn't care. Your life is wrecked and after a month or two even your friends and family forget about your pain. You learn to live with it. This is an inevitability that hangs over me every single day. It's all but paralyzing. When they're gone, I'm gone. I thought the world would at least pause, but damn no. Bodies in the ground, back to work and regular life. WTF. Nothing weird about it, but it definitely changes your worldview permanently. R.I.P. Dad. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone. Stop all the clocks, Cut off the telephone. Prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the pianos and with muffled drum. Bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle moaning overhead. Scribbling on the sky the message he is dead. Put crepe bells round the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west. My working week and my Sunday rest. My noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood. For nothing now can ever come to any good. W. H. Auden. It is weird at the time. I remember that feeling all too well. Yeah, it sucks. I was just talking to my husband about this last night. And the realization is it'll happen when you die too. The world will just keep going even when we, ourselves, die. Some people's worlds stop when somebody close to them dies. Can't happen if you have no one close to you. You can see it in people's yards. The care and upkeep they invested, which is now overgrown with weeds and vegetation. Colorful decorations toppled over and beginning to rust. I see places like that and I wonder about the people who used to piddle around in their square foot section of the world. Sad pensive face. I lost my dad in 2013 to cancer and my mom in 2021 to cancer. Neither made it past 55. Shit sucks, but it does get more manageable. I'm literally sitting here in palliative care watching my mom die. It's been a beautiful day outside, and the world continues to spin, and it's just not right. Not really. We're just one of billions of Homo sapiens inhabiting this planet. Yay, cause you feel like an asshole when you forget about them like the rest did. It hurts to move on, but it's easy to forget. Yeah, but I wouldn't say it goes on the same. Things change, especially more so in the short-term blue heart. It's rough sometimes, especially if it was murder, someone you were close with, or an unexpected death. Nope. Just cause your existence sucks or you're falling apart doesn't mean anything to the world. Sometimes it doesn't even mean anything to anyone else but you. Or that's what I've learned. Good luck on dealing with your loss. It will get a bit less painful with time. We're all just one amongst trillions of blips in the never-ending march of human history. Unless the meteor wipes us all out. The coffee isn't even bitter. Yes, but a little less each time. Yes. https://strangenewords.wordpress.com/2016/01/15/the-mortal-triumvirate/ No, not at all. It would be weird if it didn't keep going. My condolences for your loss. Absolutely, yes. World is ruthless and you just have to live with it. Sore why for your loss BTW. It is weird, but if you live long enough, it will happen multiple times. My only comfort was knowing that I'd die someday too. Now, I take comfort in knowing that the world will still keep going for the people I love once I am gone. Perspectives change. As Robert Frost once said, greater than in 3 words I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Isn't it weird that it keeps going after causing mass extinctions? Don't remind me. You keep going even though thousands of hundreds of thousands die every day. Why would it be different for the rest of the world? As someone who lost everyone and just has friends now in life, it gets better. I was so angry at the sun for rising after my mom died. It's a testament to just how small your individual world is, and life goes on for everybody else that isn't impacted. Honestly, that thought didn't cross my mind when my mom passed away a couple years ago. But you're absolutely right. Life just goes on. Who cares if one more light goes out? In a sky of a million stars it flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, we're quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. I often say it like this. The best *and worst thing about losing someone is that life goes on. No, I don't get the premise of this. I'm not a main character, and the world doesn't revolve around me. I would expect such to happen. Honest to God, I will never be the same. Lost mom, a beloved musician friend, aunts, another beloved friend, my dad, and then my cat in the last 5 years. I'm fucking struggling right now. Everyone just stops asking if you're okay. Of course you're not okay, but if you're not back to your old self like straight away, friends can't handle that and consider it awkward because they don't know what to say. I find the so-called support system is pretty flaky. You're expected to function normally again and smile without feeling like your heart is fucking broken, shattered to pieces. That won't be a problem for me. I stole a nuclear football. Time waits for no one. Nope. Dust to dust. It's why I don't fear death. It's an uncanny feeling. I've yet to experience the death of someone very close to me, but my uncle passed away a few years ago, right before pandemic hit. It was and has continued to be one of my biggest regrets that I never reached out to him, never talked to him. I learned after he passed that he was very similar to me in his worldviews, and I probably would have gotten along with him if I had just made the effort to reach out. It felt so unfair. Time is relentless though, and we keep moving forward. Even though I only met him once as a child, I try to honor him when I can with my mother. They were siblings. When I lost my dad a year ago, cleaning up his little projects in progress was so weird and sad. I was sad that I couldn't find anyone who wanted to take his seedlings and I didn't have anywhere to plant them. Cleaning up his shoes. Throwing out the pizza dough he had been working so hard at perfecting the very night he died. Since he's been gone, it's been really weird how life has carried on in his absence, both in the ways where his efforts ended with him and where we have picked up where he left off. It may feel weird, but it's the most normal thing in the world. After all, it is only your world that has been upended. Try to find comfort in the fact that the world has not stopped, and once you are ready, you can rejoin. But take the time you need. The world is not going anywhere and can manage just fine while you grieve, happily taking you back into the fold once you start again finding your strength. I was greatly insulted that the world kept going when my dad died. I thought it was the height of rudeness. My world had come to an end, so why didn't the whole world? It feels so wrong. I had a patient pass on comfort care the other night. Tons of family there to visit to say their goodbyes, and the patient passed peacefully. After family left, we put her in the cadaver bag per policy, and within 2 hours after she left, the room bed was cleaned and a new patient was moved to the bed. It's such a mind fuck. So much grief in that room, and then we have to just reset and move on like nothing happened. Life truly just goes on, and I still can't wrap my head around that. But it's never the same without said person.